That looks like a decent fish, yeah.
The crappie.
And you know that right away, just the way it's fighting.
By the way,
And they come up behind it. You know, an interesting statement, Pat. You were saying that you hardly ever use live bait. It's always, for panfish, it's the gulp minnows.
correct.
And why is that?
I'm a firm believer that it outfishes live bait.
Right, just like it says on the package.
Yeah,
Well, this is kind of your specialty. I know you know how to fish everything, you know, but pan fishing is your passion.
I love panfish fishing. They're always accessible to catch. You can always take kids out. They can always catch something.
Right.
And it's great table fare.
It is. And they're good fighters too.
Oh yeah.
Especially on these rods that you're using, these later rods. There you go. You're killing me. A double? Double trouble? Ooh, that's a decent crappie right there, Pat.
That is a beautiful crappie.
Yep. I mean, that is awesome. You know, I love that you say that you don't ever use live bait. You know, that you have that much confidence in one product. You know, and that's, I think, and I'll have you kind of respond to this, is I think that when it comes to fishing, it's confidence. And once you start using just an artificial bait like these gulp minnows, and your confidence is in it because you have, you know, any kind of bait you're using, you have to critique it and to get it to work. What you say?
Yeah. Like I said, it's a confident thing. I know, like you can see, you got set up there. Your pink and white. That's my favorite color.
So color does make a difference?
Not necessarily, it's just my thing.
Okay, because I think it does at times. Look, now that's a nice crappie too.
I mean, pink and white is my go-to color for, my go-to color for crappie fishing. It's always been the color, even on the pink.
Right.
Well,
sometimes you just bite it off, make it a little shorter.
Yep. That works too.
Cool.
I think you should eat one, Larry.
Eat the gulp?
Yeah.
Really? What's it taste like?
Play-Doh?
Really? I used to eat a lot of Play-Doh when I was a kid. I mean, if the fish will eat it, I mean, it can't be toxic or poisonous.
You got a mosquito on your face too.
Okay. He's eating me, I'm eating the gulp. You know what? Ooh, that's a nice crappie. You know what, Pat?
Tastes like Play-Doh.
That gulp is actually not that bad. I wonder what the juice tastes like. Ooh, that juice is not that bad either.
Fish love it.
Yeah, they love it. I love it. Pat I am not as good a pan fisherman as Pat at all. There's a nice gill. So what you're trying to do is you're always learning, and you know, and that's it. Really, for me, this is really a pleasure today to be able to fish with Pat because he is so good at what he does when it comes to pan fishing. He's got it dialed in because that's his passion. So for me, again, you know, a guy that fishes pretty much every day, you're always learning, and I love to learn, and I love to fish with people. No matter what their you know, style is and what their expertise is, it's just fun to always learn.
It's just a fighter. You know? These little guys fight so hard when this water gets cold. When they start digging sideways, and they're just such a blast to catch on the light gear.
Hey Pat, speaking of cold water, you know, is there a temperature that the panfish in the fall bite better? Is there a point where it gets too cold and they shut down?
No.
It doesn't.
They'll bite right up till ice up. The magic temperature for me to start fishing them is around 55.
Okay.
And we'll fish them right up till ice up.
Holy cats, that's something. What do you got there?
Crappie, I believe.
Yeah, try. You said that when they're surfacing.
Well, actually, it's a bluegill.
Cast over there.
Look at how they inhale this.
Oh, that one's really.
Inhale.
That one's really got.
They love that gulp minnow.
I think it's so cool with the gulp minnow because if you miss a fish, You don't have to pull it in to check to see if your bait's
Right.
there. It's a-
Yeah, that's an average bluegill again. You know,
I like
Like I
that
said,
average.
they do get bigger.
It's a good average. Ooh, feisty one. You know, he's not the largest bluegill in the world, but he certainly thought he was. Good fighter.
They got an attitude.
Yeah, they do have an attitude. What'd you get, Pat?
Have a nice perch.
A perch? Something different? Let me see. Oh, that's a nice perch. See, that's my favorite. If I'm going to keep fish to eat, that's my favorite eating size right there.
I mean, that's
Wow, they are.
they come in here pretty good.
The perch do, huh? Hey, I got something different. Got a crappie. That's kind of the cool part, Pat. You know, you just caught a perch. I caught a gill before that. Now I got a crappie. Pretty much, we've caught 3 different species of panfish on the Gulp minnow so far.
Kind of goes through the
Grand Fecta.
just throw. You know, sometimes we'll throw them up against the wall type where the bass are hanging out. You know, I've caught some really big smallmouth and largemouth on this little minnow.
And you've caught walleyes.
Oh, and
Plenty of
walleyes.
walleyes. Hey, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. You know, Pat, I heard you talking about the proper way that jig needs to be tied on there, and I definitely thought that is a great tip for this week. What you mind doing that again?
Sure. A lot of times when you're fishing, you know, your knot slides to the front and your bait sits like this.
Okay.
And when they're really biting, it doesn't really matter. But when they're slower and more picky, you want that knot to be center, so that bait
It's horizontal.
is horizontal and sits horizontal in the water. A lot of times you can pull it even more forward
to get it more
and
horizontal.
get it more horizontal.
And it's going to balance out a little bit more once it's in the water too,
Yeah.
because of the weight of that. But that is a great tip.
so you always want that jig to, you know, look like a minnow.
And today the fish are just biting.
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't matter, but there is plenty of times when the fishing is a lot tougher, and having that right presentation is everything, isn't
Right.
it?
Exactly. Just like sometimes they want it. Sometimes you don't have to move the jig. Sometimes you have to pop the jig. You know, but always try to keep it as horizontal as possible.
Horizontal is good. That's a great tip. Hey, we appreciate that tip, Pat, and we also appreciate our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. Right. Well, they're just looking at that back fork. Yep. I love this rod too. Oh, now I got a gill. 2 crappies. Not a gill. Life is good. You gotta remember that. Short, but good. That didn't take you long, Pat.
Oh.
Hey, Pat, now tell everybody at home what kind of setup you have there. You have a different type of bobber on there.
I got a rocket bobber. I like the rocket bobber for the fact that you can cast it.
You get a lot more distance out of it,
You
huh?
could probably cast these 20 to 30 yards.
Wow.
I do a lot of shore fishing, so when I do the shore fishing, you're usually casting across channels.
Yeah.
You know, the fish are never on the side you're on.
Why is that?
I don't know. But, you know, just a rocket bobber and a 30-second out jig hit and a gold minnow.
That's pretty as simple as it gets, right?
Right, and with the rocket bobber, it's basically a reverse bobber. It lays down, and when you get a bite, it stands up. So as soon as it stands up, set the hook, you got a fish.
Well, that's like making it as easy as it gets, right?
You can't get any easier.
What a great way for kids too, you know?
Kids love it.
Because I know you have the same philosophy as I do, Pat. You're real big on getting more kids involved in the outdoors. And also I think you should tell everybody that you're really big on getting and taking more veterans out fishing too.
Yep.
Got people that can't do it themselves.
Yeah, that you know, my wife and I really started about 5 years ago getting into taking out veterans, and you know, we do the veterans tournament here out of Winnecone every year.
Okay.
And you know, I've made some really great friends from these guys, and I still talk to them, and I still get them out fishing. And you know, they just don't have the opportunity to go. And yeah, it means a lot to take these guys out because they mean a lot to me. You know, my dad was a vet, Vietnam vet, and when my dad passed away, I said I had to do something for him, and
right.
That's what I started to do. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. A lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you know, I think another thing, Pat, too, is that, you know, we are so lucky that we get to enjoy our surrounding, you know, the environment, the hunting, the fishing part, the people, and you know, we realize how lucky we are to have this country that we live in, and we would not have any of this if it wasn't for our veterans and our men and women in the military. I mean, I can never say that enough. It is so important that what these people do for us to give back to them too. Hey, Pat,
What do you got there?
look at this. This is not a bad looking gill.
That's a beautiful.
That is a nice gill. Look at that. Look how pretty that fish is.
Pretty bold
Thick.
colored on.
I love it. Hey, Pat, I'll tell you what a great time, you know, and I certainly learned a lot from you this morning on pan fishing. It's, you know, I never realized that a couple things, that many fish actually go into these channels in the fall like this, and you're saying as the water gets colder, more fish actually congregate in there because of the bait piling in there, huh?
Yeah, and I think, you know, they school up in there, and I think later in the year that water also gets warmer too. So they're probably looking also for the warmer water to go into. So
Right.
So yep, they pile up in there. Colder it gets, better it gets.
So even up to deer hunting season.
Oh yeah, if we got open water though. Yep, open water. Deer hunting's one of my favorite times of the year to fish.
That's interesting. Hey, Pat, you know, I'd love to this winter get out and fish some panfish with you too, because you definitely know what's going on. And again, you have the passion for fishing and to get more people involved in the outdoors, which is a really cool part. Hey, it was a pleasure today.
Thanks.
And I appreciate you fishing with us. Hey, we had an absolutely awesome time here fishing with Pat. You know, make sure everybody checks out all of our social media sites, especially our website, Larry Smith Outdoors. And remember, like I always say, it's a great day to be alive.